Are we live? Okay.
Now we are.
Boom! We are live, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. Tuesday night, opening night of the NBA season, episode number 56. Lawrence Taylor episode. Have to dedicate it to him.
Hey, you got to face the camera when you talk. As soon as you look away, it cuts away.
All right, I'll get the game over here. I'll go peripheral. I'll only look at the game if I'm not talking.
Okay.
See, I'm like, everyone, welcome back. My numero uno on Tuesday. Pete, how are we, my friend?
I'm doing a lot better than your microphone.
So I can't, my headphones don't work. This is what I'm dealing with tonight.
Sound terrible. To episode 56. Who's your favorite 56?
Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, Mike, he's a sex offender.
Speaking of sex offenders, a special guest tonight.
What a transition.
Lloyd, congrats, buddy. Welcome to the league.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Long away.
How are you feeling? I just want you to open it up with how you're feeling. How are you feeling? What are your emotions? What was the weekend like? Everything.
I mean, I couldn't sleep Sunday night because I knew there was no chance. Casey was coming back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Probably even this weekend coming up, wouldn't help him out after that beatdown. I mean, it couldn't have come against a better opponent, and I'm thrilled.
Amazing.
When during the weekend did you realize? Two-part question. When did you realize you won the game?
I mean, honestly, I think when Sanders kind of gave me a little bit of something, I felt a little bit more comfortable. And then when Chase didn't stop, and Ken Walker was playing well, so I kind of felt pretty good after that. But you never know,
When did you feel confident about the boom?
After the first quarter of Monday night.
Okay.
I have, as a part of Lloyd being on the show, I reached out to every manager in the league, minus Mike Colelli.
I was going to say.
Yeah. Minus Mike Colelli. And I asked them if we were to conduct a Ask Lloyd Anything segment, what questions would they want to ask? And I have a list of 5 questions. Would you like to take them on, Lloyd?
Wait. Can we do this a different way? Can you name the question and I'll guess who it is to give Lloyd a second to answer?
Sure. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in winning the Casey bet?
Yeah, sorry, go. So Spades question. Lloyd?
I think it's a coin toss, to be honest with you. But
Right.
I'm trying to be fair. I think I'm gonna do better than him, but you never know.
Dan, the question was on a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Answer the questions, dude.
He said
5.
50. 5. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how about we'll do this again? On a scale of 1 to 10, how mad were you when Andy DeVito ripped your Supersonics starter jacket?
Oh, 10. I
Okay.
still remember. I think it was the right side of the hood.
All right. I have a never have I ever. Never have I ever pooped in a bog wrapper in the back of a bus. All right. I have a F, Marry, Kill for you. Amy Trask, Miss Guadali, or Mr. Sullivan.
Oh, God. 3 kills. But no, I'd probably kill Sullivan, Mary Gudali, kill in whatever Trask.
All right. You don't want to go to mediation again. All right.
That was a good answer on Guadali, by the way. That's the right choice.
All right. And then a real question. If you, as a new manager, if you were going to switch being a manager with anybody in the league, who would it be?
Ooh, great
Being a
question.
manager with anybody in the league.
You just switch teams right now.
Oh, switch teams?
Yep. You switch teams right now with anybody in the league. Who would it be?
That's a tough one. I would have to look a little bit more before answering. If this is a rapid fire one,
Yeah.
I'd probably say DeVito.
Ooh, okay. Not any particular reason? Any particular reason off the top of your head? Or no?
I like some of the guys he has.
There you go.
Pete, how about you? Who would you answer that question?
If I was to switch with anybody in the league, I'd want DeVito's team.
I'd want Lloyd's. I think it'd be fun to rebuild.
I think I could build a dynasty with DeVito's league. With DeVito's team. All right.
Did we get clarification on who asked those questions, or we want to keep that anonymous?
I don't really remember. I know Breen asked the if you want to switch teams with anybody, who would it be?
That's a good, I would say, Breen, another great question. All right, so Dan, we're going to talk a lot about your team, your experience this season. When we review week 6, Pete, I have some interesting stats that I want to bring up to talk about playoffs.
Bring in the stats.
So Dan, we talked a ton with you about last season, your first season, the honeymoon phase. Nobody had high expectations. You made one good draft pick. Your team was garbage. Understood. We appreciate it. We moved on. I want to get a take from you on what your plan was coming into this season. You had Chase, you had Sanders, you had a couple of pieces, you had a lot of draft picks. What was your mentality coming in? And I think I know the answer to this question, but did you have a plan?
Well, I mean, my plan was to focus on trying to stay young in the draft again. I didn't want to draft too many guys that were, like a Lazard or someone like that, who's going to have a huge impact right away this season. I was trying to, again, still build for the future. I'll say probably my biggest surprise of this year so far has been how well Sanders has actually played. I wasn't actually expecting a lot out of him, and I think he's outperformed what my expectations were for him.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why didn't you make a move the first 3 weeks?
Ooh.
Why didn't I? Because I don't know. I didn't feel like I knew my team well enough yet. Like, I didn't want to go have a fire sale. I got a lot of young guys. I had some tough matchups with my team.
I don't know, Dan. Agree to disagree, man. I agreed with the premise. Go young, go young, go young. You had the Cowboys tight end on your roster for 3 weeks, just sitting there. You were never going to play that guy. He was old and there was no Dak. It was ripe for, let me go try to disrupt the waiver wire. Let me go try to pick up a young, and there was no moves. I was disappointed. I made a point to bring it up the last couple of weeks.
Jeez.
Thoughts?
You blew it. You blew it.
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens this week.
Dan, I just think you owe me an apology.
Be a little disruptive.
I think you owe me an apology.
I mean, you're right. Dalton Schultz, I didn't need him. I also wasn't trying to be too aggressive on the waiver wire, and I didn't want to cut too many of my other guys. But you're right about that one. I'll give you that. Absolutely.
Playing scared.
Make your moves, Dan. Pizza Luca model. If you're going to be the basement team, Pizza Luca model is the right model, not the Kevin Breen model.
Sell out. All right. You want to do a week in review? Seeing as you're
Jason Tatum might be the best player in the NBA. I know I say this a lot. I think this dude's awesome. Sorry.
He's not the best player in the NBA.
So week in review, Pete, give us the week 6 review, and then Dan, comment how you want to comment. We'll let you do your thing. People really like to get other guys' perspectives on teams. You can do it however you want. But Pete, tell us about week 6. Give us some good stats, some superlatives.
Yeah.
And then I'll segue us into a historical view.
Yeah, Lloyd, feel free to jump in. Sage Jankowicz couldn't make it, so whatever way, whatever.
Got Sage. I bet you he would have come on.
Whatever you want to weigh in, feel free.
I actually have one great stat about our matchup when we get
about
there.
Sage Jankowicz, because that would be a hell of a stat. All right. Let's talk about the boom.
Hey, do you remember when Facebook started and you and I joined, and the first thing I did was call you, and I was like, "Hey, Sage Jankowicz
is on it." Yeah, he looked exactly the same.
Yeah. His dad even had the station wagon. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the boom, the beast, and the going deep, because it was a clean sweep for Dan Larkin. I can't tell you if that's happened before because I have commitment issues and I've deleted all the previous records. So sorry. I do. I have major issues. The boom of the week, it was 165.67. It was a mini boom. But as we always like to say, it's not the size of the boom that matters. So congratulations, Lloyd. This ranks 31 out of 35 of the booms. So pretty low on the list.
Wow.
However, it was the 8th highest score of the season. So that was great. Lloyd, what are you going to do with the money?
I might send a nice bouquet of orchids to the Jumbos.
Oh, $50. I'll get you a nice thing. I think you both should get microphones.
Yeah.
So
my headphones. I'm sorry, I'm off tonight, Pete.
With Lloyd winning, that means CJ Spates last on the dance floor, last person to ever boom. CJ, the tall man standing out there by himself. Beast. Oh God, Mike, just try to distract me during my moment. The beast of the week, Jamar Chase, he had 40 points. Diggs and Hill both tied for second with 38. This is a disaster. And then let's talk about the going deep. The going deep play, the longest play was Khalil Herbert. He had a 64-yard run. Okay. He finished the day with 7 rushes for 75 yards. So it was legitimately the only play that this guy had all day. That was on Lloyd's bench. The longest play from a starting player was Chase's 60-yard touchdown. So Lloyd had that one as a starter. So when you're going good, you're going good. Lloyd swept it all.
Oh, damn. What a week.
What a week in general. Where are you? Are you in a freezer? The average real quickly, the average team score dropped 1 point. It's 132. The top scoring teams are ranked 1, 3, and 5. Those are Andy, Breen, and Mike. Andy is on a tier of his own. He averages 161 points. He is 10 points higher. Hardest schedule remains Spates. However, Kaleli, Casey, and Lloyd, you guys all have similar tough schedules. So there really is not one tough schedule. Kind of all 4 of you have
Hey, is that better? Is my volume better?
No. Kaleli, you are the only team in the top 3 for highest scoring and toughest schedule. So shout out
How about
to
that?
you.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Oh,
And
great.
Ennis is the only team in the bottom 3 of scoring and has the 3rd easiest schedule. So he is doing terribly. We told him not to get engaged, and this is what
This team
happened.
stinks, by the way.
What happens? Told you not to get engaged. That is your week in review.
So, Pete, before we dive into it, Dan, I'm going to bring you into this too. I went through the last 10 years of playoff teams, and I wanted to see how many teams made the playoffs after 6 weeks, who went 6-0, 5-1, that whole thing.
Okay.
And so what I did was I charted the 40 playoff teams and the 10 Super Bowl champions.
Okay.
So I can see what their records were in week 6.
Okay.
How many teams do you think had an 0-6 record and made the playoffs?
0. Yeah.
How many teams had a 1-5 record that made the playoffs?
2.
Dan?
I would say 1.
What?
0 teams have gone 1-5 and made the playoffs. So if historical trends hold true, we have 2 teams that have been historically eliminated from the playoffs.
How far did you go back?
10 years. Interestingly enough, so again, 40 teams, 40 data points. How many teams were 2-4 and made the playoffs?
I know I was one of them. I think
More than one. There's 9 teams.
What?
So if you're 2-4, there's 9 times that is converted to a playoff winner. Then obviously more teams if you're a better record. If you take the last 10 Super Bowl champions, last 10, there has only been 2 Super Bowl champions that were under 500 at the 6-week mark.
Who are they?
There were only 3 teams that were either 500 or worse. So there was 1 3-3 team and 2 2-4 teams. Every other winner over the last 7 years has been 6-0, 5-1, or 4-2.
Wow. I bet Ennis was one of the underachievers last year. He must have been, right?
No, he was 4-2 last year. He had a rough middle part of the season. You actually stunk last season, but you were 2-4 out of the games last year and made the playoffs. So the only times it happened back-to-back years in 2014 and 2015. DeLuca in 15, you were 2-4. You then won 3 straight, very wonky playoff season, 9-6 and 8-7. Essentially, the whole league was stuck right there. You made it in, won the title. And Darian was 2-4 in 2014. He went on to win 2 straight weeks and then really hit his stride going into the playoffs. And then the coolest stat is still 2012 Spates. Not only was he 3-3, he was 0-3 out of the gates, and he ended up going on, squeaked into the playoffs as the 4th seed and won the Super Bowl. So it's interesting learning for me to go through those statistics. The 1-5 teams, I think it's c'est la vie, unless Case and Lloyd do something pretty remarkable. If you are in the 2-4 bucket, those teams all won in week 7, so it's kind of a must win for those guys. And if you think you're a Super Bowl champion, really the people in that bucket who have a chance to win based off the historical are those 4 teams over 500 now. That's DeVita, that's you, Pete, that's DeVito, and that's Breen. So historically, that's what we're looking at. We'll see how week 7 plays into that. But a good place I like to always take stock of where we are in the season. And the beauty of this league, I can look at historical data. So,
Interesting. I gotta say, I was 1-5 in 2009. I made the Super Bowl and I lost. And then I was 2-4 in 2010. I made the Super Bowl and I lost. So just a couple more years, I could have messed up your whole stats. But
well, I only went back 10 years. I was doing it while I was eating dinner. So
Dan,
does that make you feel depressed?
No, nope.
Are you planning on breaking the trend?
I will do my best to do that.
Well, you have to make a couple moves if you want to do your best. All right, Pete, let's do some recaps, baby. Week number what? I'm just saying, you have to make moves. Your team's not good enough. Week number 6, Pete. I don't write down who the games of the week were. I'm pretty sure the game of the week, though, is the battle of the toe and the ta. DeVita versus DeVito.
Yep.
DeVita's B team squashed a bad performance by DeVito. In DeVito's next week, we'll talk about it on Thursday. He's got a lot of buys. So down goes DeVito. He loses by 17. DeVita gets the win. And then Lloyd will get your thoughts. But Pete, what are the stats?
Yes, Mike, you are correct. It was an alphabetical win for DeVita, who took out DeVito in a rare win over Steve. It was his 4th win since 2017. So Andy's only 4-7 against DeVito, and DeVito had won the previous 2. So crazy game. Mike, what's the matter? You're not paying attention? Sorry, just making sure you're paying attention.
Fully paying attention. I can multitask.
So DeVito goes stars and scrubs. This one was scary because his stars delivered and his scrubs did really terrible. This was supposed to be the week where his team shut down and went into hiding, but instead he beats a potential playoff team without his best player. So I don't know anymore. I picked Andy and I'm surprised. I got a question for you guys. He's 6-0. Do we want to talk about when how long this goes on for?
Do you have a schedule?
Yep, I got a schedule. He gets Breen this week without Allen.
But without Diggs. So Diggs and Allen.
Yep. Okay. Then he gets, so you guys think what? Win, loss? Okay.
For the exercise, I'll say win.
Okay. Then
don't hold me to it on Thursday.
After that, he plays me in week 8 without Mahomes or Kelsey.
Oh yeah. It's one of the next 2. He's had an easy schedule. He loses one of those 2 games.
All right. I gotta say, if he doesn't win one of the next 2, he goes on to play Lloyd,
come back,
Ennis, Casey, Spates, Christian.
Wow.
That's a pretty easy stretch if he can get through these next 2 weeks. No offense, Lloyd.
That's fine.
All right. Lloyd, 5 minutes ago, you said if you were going to trade teams, you'd take DeVito. You didn't say DeVita. I want to get your now perspective, knowing that one team is 6-0 and has a really interesting path to like 12-1. In one team currently has a Tom Brady stack, and the guy can't even stay married. So give us the perspective on both teams. That was rough. Give us the perspective on both teams, why you picked DeVito and where you think DeVita is.
Well, I think
Celtics went up 12 in like 2 seconds.
I think this week DeVito was really missing Mr. Joe Burrow, and could have really helped him out.
Yep.
I think he's kind of in trouble with his 2 quarterbacks right now. Those guys are not trending in the right direction. I don't see Stafford making a turnaround. Something wrong with him. And then I don't know. Brady can scream all he wants, but this might be his last year.
It looks ugly.
So, Dan,
but I like a lot of his other guys. I mean, he's got
go through it. Where do you see the upside? I want to know where you see the DeVito upside and what you think his path is to the playoffs.
He's got 2 debatable top 5 receivers in Kupp and Brown. And I think, Godwin's good. Kamara is good. Metcalf is great.
Great.
Good, great. Higgins is good too. I mean, I think he's got some good talent. I don't know.
Did you notice he again missed Metcalf? He has gotten Metcalf wrong every single game.
I don't understand why he just doesn't play. Metcalf's good. Like, why not just play him every week?
He's not going to play him next week. DeVito's very reactionary.
Reactionary indeed.
I think Andy's got a good team too. I think it was a great pickup getting Mahomes. Like, he really needed that, especially with the way Russ has been playing. So I do like his team too. I
kind of did a whole mock of Andy's team, saying that maybe he loses to me and Kaleli and Steve to end the year. I have DeVita finishing 13-3. Is that crazy? Or maybe 12-3. Yeah, because we only played 15 games.
12-3.
Yeah.
You
Imagine
started out the whole season?
I mean, his schedule.
You should go through the whole season. That'd be a fun exercise. Do it on Thursday. We'll see what your predictions are. Write them down.
Sounds like
We'll
a
have
great
case
use.
write them down. We'll have case write them down.
Yeah, sounds like a great use of time. I got a playoff team to worry about. Why don't you do it?
Sheila listened to the podcast. She goes, "Why do you keep telling Pete what to do?" I was like, "I don't know." He keeps doing it. He keeps doing it.
30 years running, Sheila. Don't worry about it. I tell her I don't do any of it. You can tell me to do whatever he wants.
So Dan, do you think we're gonna get your full playoff reactions and predictions at the end of the pod? Do you think these are two playoff teams we just saw play this week?
Well, I think Andy's definitely going to be one. Seeing the rest of his schedule and where he's at right now, I think Steve could be one too. He's got to obviously set the right guys in there.
That's seriously the analysis you just came with.
It's his first show, man. He hasn't been on since the draft.
I wasn't prepared, Mike. I'm not prepared for all this.
When you come on,
it's past his bedtime too. Don't forget.
That's true. My mistake. My mistake, Dan. My mistake.
I'm an hour and a half.
What time?
Dan, what's the temperature?
I get up at 4:30 every morning. I'm usually in bed by 8:30, 9:30 every night.
Oh my God! All right, Mike, wrap this up.
Let's go to the next game. Pete, let's preview your game. Let's preview. Dan, is the temperature of the basement or the room that you're in is at the right temperature for you? You good?
Oh, it's warm. It's very warm now after those questions.
Oh.
He's sweating. Dan's sweating. All right, Pete. Speaking of sweating, you were both sweating and you made an excellent prediction. You capitalized on a rough Monday night for Spates. Really tough loss again for CJ. Loses by 4, falls to 2-4. Big win for DeLuca, 5-1, sits at number 2 in the league. The Cousins dominating the leaderboard. Give us the recap.
Yeah, is anyone else in this league? Or do you have to be in my family tree to be in first and second? I'm just saying. I beat my Washington D.C. partner to improve to 6-4 in my 5 years against Spates. I believe the Monday night football performance was karma for breaking the guy code. So take it. Don't forget. It was. And don't forget that Monday night football game was 5 quarters of scoreless action. They went through an entire game and almost an entire overtime where his garbage players could not score. So unlike me, he had to like sub in these awful players where I was able to easily replace Michael Thomas for a last minute W and win by 4, just as I planned. Went all according to plan. So sorry, Spades. Fun in the basement.
I will say, Pete, I have Mike Williams in another league, and I watched the game, and I was like, I think Mike Williams got hurt. Nope.
Man, shut him down. He's a man.
So, Lloyd, take a look at CJ's team here, because he, to me, continues to be a really hard roster to predict. I am on the boat now that he's got to move on from Rodgers.
Your Super Bowl pick.
He was my Super Bowl pick. I picked him to boom 3 weeks. I didn't pick him last week, Pete. You knew. I knew he wasn't beating you. And so I think he needs to move on from Rodgers personally. We'll see if he does it. He's pretty stubborn with his quarterbacks. He likes to keep his old guy plan. I still think he has a bunch of big money pieces. Mike Williams, boom or bust, but he's got McCaffrey. He's got Fournette. Take me to Spates' team. He loses Hollywood Brown for the season. He loses another tough loss. Dan, do you think Spates is about to turn and start to sell some pieces, or do you think he still fights for a playoff spot now that he's 2-4?
Well, I think he'll definitely fight for a playoff spot, but I just think, like you said, that the quarterback position is a big one for him. I think Rodgers is – I don't see it happening with him this year. And I think both him and Devontae Adams miss each other a lot.
The way I see it with Spates is I was trying to make him trade offers all day. And so I was trying to get into the psyche of like what his team, like what he should be thinking. Is he punting or is he playing? Right.
Great. Yep.
Look at the next month that he has coming up. He's 2-4, but the next 3 games are against Lloyd, Innes, and Casey, bottom 3 of the league. So all of a sudden, if he could pull those out, he's 5-4 and back in it. So my message to him was that he was still in it. And I tried to do a trade where we were both going to, be able to compete going forward. But I guess that was news to him. So we didn't do a trade.
So I still like Spates' team. I said it week after week.
I love it. Hang on that hill.
He, to me, there's one guy in this league that I think you're going to be surprised at who I'm about to say. I think there's one guy at the bottom of the leaderboard who's going to do a couple things that change the trajectory of this league. And I think Spates' team is sitting there in terms of who guys can partner with. I think the guy who I think is going to try to make some moves to go young, because 90% of his roster is young, is Darian. And the guy I could see benefiting from Darian is Spates. And I look at the bottom of Spates' roster. He's got a couple of really good rookie receivers with Olave, Garrett Wilson. If Darian really wants to punt, to me, Spates' door should be open. Future draft picks, young receivers, can they make a move, bring in a more valuable player onto Darian's team, an ETN for, say, somebody of the like? And that's the type of thing that I think is going to start to sway some of the middle of the road teams. Can the rosters flip a little bit? I agree with you. I didn't look at the schedules. I still think Spates' team is right there.
All right. Outstanding analysis, Mike.
Thank
I
you.
think he's got to get rid of OBJ, though. I mean, I don't know why he's.
Well, he's holding OBJ and Taysom Hill. He's not playing Taysom. I never understand why you're going to hold a guy you're never going to play. I don't get it.
Especially him. He just started Melvin Gordon. Like, go out there and take a better flyer than Melvin Gordon.
Oh, I don't mind Melvin Gordon. I mean, he was supposed to be, dude. Nathaniel Hackett had
half the game.
Pete. Nathaniel Hackett had Melvin Gordon taking carries from Javonte Williams, and now he doesn't even give him the ball over whatever the guy Murray's. I'm like, this guy.
He snacks.
Lloyd, give me 2 seconds on Pete's team. He's built a pretty good roster. It's deeper than it has been in the past. Most people who've come on this pod have predicted him to the playoffs. Do you see him as formidable between now and the end of the year?
I think he's going to have a couple of tough bye weeks coming up, especially when the Ravens get on one. It's going to be a tough week to win. But, Pete's always making moves, such as the Dobbs pickup this week. Had you not picked him up, Pete, you probably would have lost. Those 5 points actually made a difference. So,
yeah, there you go.
That was the key to the win. So, I think it's going to come down to the bye weeks. You got a lot of guys on the same team, too.
I think that this is the first time that I've really started to look at the strategy of who the other guy is that I'm playing and try to get a win that way. Because I don't think I'm a very good team, but I do try to look at the matchup completely. I know you don't do that at all, Chloe. That's great. Lloyd, do you look at the matchup at all?
Well, hold on. I say that when we get to my game. I actually did that this week in my game. But
Lloyd, do you look at the matchup at all, or you just lose to everybody?
No, I absolutely. That was my problem. I was looking too much into who they were playing, and now I'm just going with my gut.
Okay.
Speaking of pickups that Lloyd mentioned, the best pickup of the week, potentially the season, I think may have saved my season. Huge win. I got very lucky. A couple of really bad performances, but Dion, the new primetime Jackson, pulls out the W for Kaleli. Chosen ones squeak by the big rides. Jeff Innes has not squeaked by anything this past couple weeks, months, years, except that porchetta sandwich he shouldn't be having last night. Pete, give us the recap. Kaleli over Innes, 120 to 1.
He squeaked by the hurricane. Was surprisingly limber during the hurricane. He was moving good.
He was.
That thing wasn't going to catch him. Mike gets his Super Bowl revenge with a 3-point win. It was the closest win among a week with a lot of close games. Mike, you are 5-1 against him since 2019, so you are a team for Jeffrey to avoid going forward. You have a number,
except in the playoffs.
Not the playoffs. You started a guy that you traded for and started a guy that got 0 points.
Yep.
You debated all week whether or not to start Mike Boone, and he got 1 carry.
Yep.
We discussed how you might be one of the unluckiest teams, but you ended up coming through with a pickup at the end there to get the win. So we have your upcoming schedule. Can I talk about your next 3 games?
Yeah.
Steve, Casey, Breen.
So I got DeVito. I checked this. DeVito has a bunch of buys this week. I said at the beginning of the year, Pete, first 6 weeks, I'm going to try to get through it because the number one guy on my team's coming back, and he comes back and Marquise Hollywood Brown's out for the season. I like where the chosen ones are. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Feeling good. We talked before about how you are one of the top scorers and one of the hardest schedules, the only team in the league that's had that thing. So
there you go. Dan, I had you do this for another 2-4 team. Innes now 2-4, and his team was bad. He benefited from Joe Burrow. He didn't benefit from anybody else. If Jeff chooses to sell, he has tons of assets. I'm assuming you think he should stay in it because he's had some pretty bad luck. What's your take on Innes' team? Where do you think he sits at 6 weeks in and under 500 for the defending champ?
I don't see him making the playoffs. And
Well, you do or you don't? You've moved away from your microphone.
I don't see him making the playoffs, and I think he's got a pretty easy schedule to date too. So I don't see.
What do you think happened, Dan? What do you think happened? We were all
He's
hyper.
not good. No, we weren't all. Don't group me in with you guys. I didn't think Jing. Hashtag Jing. I've been saying it since before week 1.
What do you think happened here, Dan?
Yeah, injuries.
Did he get
definitely.
caught?
Injuries. I mean, losing Jonathan Taylor in the way that team has performed up until like last week, that's a huge. I mean, the guy was one of the best players in the league last year, and he really hasn't done a whole lot.
Yeah.
Why isn't Jeff doing anything to replace him? What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, losing, it feels like his 4 best players, Dak, and CD are a package deal. Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris. Well, 4 of his 5. Debo's
Get rid of Debo then. I don't know. Do something.
So,
Najee hasn't been the same guy he was last year either.
Oh, their offense stinks. Pete, you realize I had 4 players combined for 10 points and I still won.
Yes, I did notice that. It was.
Can I get a little credit, dude? Deion Jackson.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. I mean, he was one of your 3 pickups, and the other 2 you did terrible with. Mike, you traded for a guy and started. Like you were like, I need to acquire him.
So the Monday night game I'm watching, and I'm like, I think Mike
could have
Williams
played Brendan Cooks and gotten 0 points.
The Sunday afternoon game I'm watching because I'm like, oh, it's going to be the shootout. No, and I'm like, what number is Marquise Valdez scaling again? He wasn't even on the field. What's going on here?
When you mentioned him, when you mentioned him in a trade, I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea that anyone wanted him. I was like, all right.
Well, last week he had like 11 targets. I was like, oh, I'm good. I wanted to be what I wanted, Pete. I wanted a piece of that Buffalo Kansas City game. I thought it was going to be a shootout.
I could see the sense. I could see the reasoning. That's why I picked him up.
I guess what I wanted is Deion Jackson.
So, question for you, Mike.
Yeah, Dan.
So, you lose Hollywood Brown with Murray, but you're getting Hopkins back.
I got Hopkins back. I don't care about Hollywood.
You think Hopkins is going to be the same Hopkins he was before he was suspended? You do?
Yeah, I do.
Are you going with Hopkins immediately right off?
100%. Well, 100%. Really? I would have played him last week if I could have. 100%.
I have a feeling he's going to struggle Thursday. No?
He might struggle Thursday because the Saints are good, but not because of his. Like the Saints are a good team. That would be the reason he struggles, not because he's been out. I'm pumped about my team. I think he's going
to be rusty, and it's a tough matchup, and it's a short week for everyone but him. But that will affect him. So I think it's going to be like, oh, he's back, but and then he'll be fine.
I got to watch that game with you guys on Thursday.
And then what about the Robbie Anderson impact?
None.
Nothing.
Robbie Anderson looks particularly disturbing. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that replay about 800. Oh, you know what else I saw 800 times? That Peyton Manning AT&T commercial. I have had enough. I mean, LeBron James AT&T commercial.
Oh, I can't stand it.
God.
He says everyone needs the same deal as him. What is the commercial? I don't get it. Like, he's like, everyone needs this deal. It's like, shut up.
The whole thing. I don't understand all the commercialization of these athletes now. Who cares? I don't care.
That AT&T commercial is on every single commercial break. All right, sorry.
Dan, any last words or questions you want to get at the table till we get the final 2 games?
I miss the old Donovan McNabb, Campbell's Chunky Soup commercials.
Yeah, those were good.
He had his mom. Dan. Speaking of Donovan McNabb, a guy who used to own Donovan McNabb. No, I don't think he did. Did Darian? Nah.
No,
whatever.
Breen did, right?
I don't know. Innis did?
I thought Breen did.
DeVito would know. Well, Breen and Darian played each other. It was the 4th game of the week. I said this game was going to be closer than we thought. It ended up being pretty close, but Breen continues his march towards the playoffs. 2 games over 500. Darian falls again, now 2-4. Pete, give us recap. Breen over Darian.
It was a 5-5 tie over the last 5 years, but Breen breaks that, and he has now won 3 straight against Christian. This was Christian's second highest scoring game of the year. So he is trying. Yeah, he is trying. He did score 167 in week 2, but that seems like a very, very long time ago. But he's increased his score the past 3 weeks. So he's definitely getting better. I told Breen not to play Dobbins. I'm from Baltimore. I don't know what else I have to do. It's like if I gave you a crab cake suggestion and you didn't take it. I think maybe next week Breen will listen to me with perfection on the line against DeVita. Going to be a good matchup. Cannot wait for that one.
Dan, if you were going to go to a restaurant and order appetizers for me, you and Pete, you got to pick 3 apps. Pick the restaurant, pick the apps. What are you picking for us?
Whoa, just the apps.
For Pete, I'd do something smoked because he's always on the vape.
Get it, buddy. I'll take it.
Like, you're getting a nice creamy potato salad.
Oh,
Mashed
the
potatoes,
worst meal
baby.
ever. This meal happened a month ago.
A third one, I'd go with potato skins.
Whoa,
Potato skins.
a lot of potato
Yeah.
skins.
Talk me through your potato skin. Your preferred potato skin has what on it?
Loaded.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Loaded cheese, bacon, sour cream.
Have you ever had Old Bay?
Little chives.
Oh, yeah. Love Old Bay.
All right.
French
All right.
fries.
All right, there you go.
Well, speaking
My
of
wife
Old,
hates it, though, Pete.
speaking
I
of
love
Old Bay, guys. Speaking
Divorce.
of Old Bay, there was a team in this game who used to be good. He's now the Old Bay of this league. Darian 2-4. Lloyd, I keep going to you for these 2-4 folks. You've said Spates leaning towards staying in, Innis leaning towards staying out. He may be in sell mode. Which side of that baton do you put Darian on?
I don't know how he's 2-4. I actually think he's the worst team in the league, but
Whoa. When do they play? Pete, when do Lloyd and Christian play? I hope it's this week.
Oh man, hold on.
I'm
You think
just
he's the worst team in the league.
I do, yeah.
Worse than Brian Casey? I mean, that's saying something.
Maybe not, but this current state of with his injuries and whatnot, I think injury wise,
Play each other next week.
without the injuries, no. But
Next week,
No, they don't.
week 8.
Lloyd,
part of my hatred is I-
eight.
Khalil
Lloyd.
Herbert should be
Lloyd.
starting.
Lloyd, don't look at the matchup. Do you guarantee a victory over Darian in week 8?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What do you want to put? What do you want to put on the line for
Oh,
the
yeah.
podcast? What's the bet?
I'll put 2 bags of ginger snaps because I know how much Christian likes them, and then I'll probably a case of Gatorade because he's a big blue Gatorade guy or purple. one of the two.
Oh,
Heard it here
fucking,
first, folks.
fucking Christian's language.
The Darian, the bet's on the table. Take it up on the group text so we know if you listen to the pod. All right, Pete.
But quick fact: when I live with Christian, he ate 3 things: ginger snaps, maple walnut ice cream, and he didn't eat this one, but he drank just purple Gatorade. That was it. It's all he ever had.
Wait, the light purple?
No, I forget what the name of it is, like the regular
Oh.
purple one.
The worst one. Best Gatorade flavor. Lemon lime.
Oh yeah,
Lemon
yellow.
Lemon lime's the best Gatorade flavor. Not even close.
Have you ever had the
It's
white one?
OG.
White one's really good.
It's the OG. Pete. Bream seems pretty good.
Yes.
Do you think he will continue the ascension here? Tough one this week. Well, here on Thursday night, I want to know if you think he's going to be the one who knocks off DeVita, or do you think it's going to be you 2 weeks from now?
I do not think he's going to beat DeVita this week. I do think it is going to be me next week. I think that not having Josh Allen is going to be a big deal. He's probably going to end up having to play like Winston, or if he makes a move, somebody else. And that quarterback group looks pretty terrible. Breen scores a lot of points. Second highest scoring team. Don't forget it. He's pretty high up there. This isn't the Breen of last year. So he's got a tough stretch coming up though. Andy, Steve, Mike, and then me. So that's a tough 4. With bye weeks coming in, he should we'll see what he comes up at the end of that.
I think he's going to play Jameis. I was wondering why he picked him up last week, and now when I look at this, it's light bulb went off. He did it because he wants a piece of that Cardinals defense. Excuse me, everyone. It just
You okay?
belched under my breath. Dude, Ramondre Stevenson is a beast.
Beast.
You should have been starting all year.
He should be the star for the Patriots all year. Speaking of should have been starting all year, you should have been starting all year, Dan. You doubled up Case. You creep into a tie in the bet of the season. I heard they're making a movie about it. If they made a movie about the bet of the season, you versus Case, who do you think would play you in Case? Ooh, Dan, great question. Who'd play Dan Larkin?
David Schwimmer.
Who would play Brian Casey?
Ooh, good question.
Kevin
No. Owen Wilson.
What?
All
Brian
right.
Casey.
Schwimmer versus Wilson. Let's hear the recap, Pete. Lloyd booms. Lloyd crushes Casey. Should have been the game of the week.
I think Brian Casey kind of looks like Bruce Willis currently. Maybe, maybe that would be his.
I think, Pete, my new favorite thing is us just like keep jabbing Casey on the Tuesday night pods.
I was like, I went to Google, I'm like, old wrinkled actor, and it's like Bruce Willis. I was like, nailed it. All right, good. All right. In the last 5 years, Casey and Larkin. Casey falls to 8-3 against Lloyd, and that snaps a 4-game winning streak that Casey had over him. So this was a big upset historically. I picked Lloyd to beat Casey, but the hotter take I made was that this was going to be the start of a 3-game winning streak for Lloyd. That take looks a lot better today with Darian and Spades coming up. So I think it's possible. The Jumbos have Innocent Kaleli, so don't slip up, Case, because there's $100 ride on that one. So big win, Lloyd. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats, Dan. Dan, how much money collectively have you and Ross collected from Lloyd?
I tried to look it up. I did.
We know the answer.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't.
How much have you made on the?
Oh, I wanted to know how much they're in the hole by.
How much is the collective ownership of
Which money has been won?
Of Kraken?
What do you at? What I missed the question?
How much money have you and Ross made in this league?
Made
In 25 years.
Zero.
$50.
$50.
You just won the first ever money for the Houston Texans Tennessee Oilers. Congratulations, Dan. Dan, your team looked awesome this week. I want to just hear today, what are your thoughts on your team? Do you feel like you directionally know where you want to go? Do you feel like there are things you want to be doing and any messages you want to plant to the league on what you're planning to do over the next couple of weeks if anybody wants to get in on the action?
Well, I mean, it helped having some guys go out. It made a lot of decisions a lot easier. I mean, I've been waiting for Juju to do something this year. Like I had higher hopes for him. It was nice to see Ayuk finally find the end zone. You know, Chase doing what he did was nice. I had higher hopes for Geno Smith this week. I thought he was going to give me a little more than he did. He didn't. I need Kenny Pickett to come back so we can keep throwing the Pickens. And Pitts, man, he kills me every week. I know. But he still put up 10 points, you know. But
10 points is the new 0 in this league.
No, I get it, but like he should be in the end zone. The guy's huge. Like Mariota, he's another one that's inconsistent. But yeah, it is what it is.
I just want to I want you to think about what you just said. It's Mariota, dude. He stinks. Dan, there's still guys in the bottom of your roster I don't want to have on the roster in 3 weeks. But I'm gonna let you do this segment, Dan.
So hey, real quick, one crazy stat from this matchup.
Let's hear it.
Love it. Pete and I love a crazy stat.
How many targets do you think Casey's team had?
Targets?
Yes, from all of his players combined.
Good God. Let's see how
7
many.
guys.
Let's say
45.
His team had 16 targets.
Wow, that's terrible.
Wait, what?
It's
16
terrible.
targets total.
Imagine you only start 8 guys. I mean, like that's not.
I mean, he had 3 running backs, but still, like it was in like one of the recaps. I was like, I cannot believe that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Especially with Eckler and Pollard. Like,
did Duvernay and Slayton both have 1 target? Was that essentially what you did?
I forget how the breakdown was. I looked at it, but I think one of his running backs actually had 3.
Could have been Pollard. He had 2 catches. Dan.
What a fall from grace.
Dan, Casey's team won the Brian Casey Award last year, regular season champs. His team's putrid. What do you think Casey's going to do? And I want to know more importantly, what do you think happened?
I don't know what happened. Might have been the draft in his first pick in the 3rd round. But I think it kind of stinks because I have his 1st round pick this year. So even if he does decide to blow it up,
you do?
Me, so,
Look at you.
So I am hoping.
Go ahead and blow it up, Casey.
Wow. If history is a repeating factor, neither of these teams are making the playoffs. But I kind of agree with Pete. If either of you is going to make a run, I just look at who's in each of your starting lineups. Your team is better than Casey's today. And I do like, Dan, you have on your bench, like there's a world where Herbert's the starting running back in 2 weeks. There's a world where Bateman's back and he's a relevant starter. Theoretically, there's a world where Kyle Pitts is relevant. And then maybe you can make a move and not keep DJ Chark and Darren Schultz on your bench and try to make it run to somebody else. But you have a bunch of guys that could play.
You know, Chark killed me because him getting hurt. And then that offense, like when St. Brown went down, I'm like, yes, here's his time. He's going to step up. He's going to get some action. No. He's a bum. I have a couple pending transactions, so hopefully you'll be pleased if I get him.
I will be, Dan. All right, there we go. Week 6 recap, folks. Dan, great to hear what you had to say about all the teams. Hope nobody was offended by you. Pete, any questions to Dan before we get his playoff and Super Bowl predictions?
No, I want to know your playoff pick, and I also want to know who you're predicting to come in last place.
Love it. Let's do that last. So, Dan, we ask everybody who visits us on Tuesday, who are the 4 playoff teams, according to Dan Larkin, this upcoming season?
Okay, I would say my 4 would be Andy,
Ooh.
Kevin, Steve, and Mike.
What?
Sorry, Pete.
The first guy that hasn't picked me to be in the Super Bowl yet, including myself.
All right, Dan, those are your 4.
Who's
Who is
Super
your
Bowl?
Super Bowl matchup and who's your Super Bowl winner?
Oh, geez. I think it's going to be Andy and Kevin, and I think that Kevin's going to be victorious.
What?
Wow. Early you are DeLuca is so offended. He invited you on today. He sent a really nice text.
Listen, you want me to be real, or you want me to go with the
No, I appreciate it. I think it's
We're
crazy. If we have a Breed DeVita Super Bowl, let's just fast forward to next year.
I'd say just send them both $1,000 and be done with it. All right, Dan, most important question. I love this question, DeLuca. Who finishes in last place?
Oh, jeez.
Mike, I want your take too.
I think it's going to be Case.
I think it's going to be Darren. I think Darren's going to sell his assets.
I was going to say, I think it's the Darian too, but I think Lloyd might not be in second to last either. I don't know.
Small victory, Dan.
I'm
All
not
right,
trying
guys.
to tank. I will tell you that. You can see from last year, it doesn't really matter who. You still can, like DeVito, still got a better pick than me, and I was worse than him. So
Yeah, there's a lottery. There's no reason to tank.
Yep. All right, guys. Week 7. Here we go. I told you this
Thanks
is
for
my
having me
turning
on,
point,
fellas.
baby. Dan, you were the turning point of the night. Congratulations on the first ever boom for the Orchids of Asia. Hope you clean up afterwards. Great to have you on Tuesday night. Been a pleasure. Pete, miss you, buddy. What?
Clean up afterwards. Hey, Lloyd, what do you think about Sheila badmouthing you watching YouTube?
Oh, I like to see like everyone's reaction. But I will say you're gonna find this messed up. So I have a thing in my truck that sits like right on above my speedometer. So I drive into work with my phone like this, so I can watch you guys while I drive too.
Dan.
All right. Well, link will be in the description. Just for you, Lloyd. The YouTube comes for labor of love for you. He's got to watch his commute.
Pete, how many times he's going to watch himself to make sure his hair looked okay?
Oh, I mean, he looks fabulous. Especially this is essentially 2 a.m. for him, so he looks very good.
Yeah, Dan, get to sleep, man. Get to sleep. We want those eyes open on the road tomorrow morning. All right, for Dan, for Pete, I'm Mike. See you guys.
See you guys.
All right, have a good one, boys. Bye.